turns me on, keeps me singing life's sweet song. Music turns me on, keeps me singing life's sweet song. Music turns me on, keeps me singing life's sweet song. Music turns me on, keeps me singing life's sweet song. Music turns me on.
What would I do without my music? What would I do without my music?
Turns me on.
What would I do without my music? What would I do?
Turn up the music. Turn up the music. Turn up the music of your life. Turn up the music. Turn up the music. Turn up the music of your life. Wake up every morning. Live life out loud. Be the star that you are. High above the clouds. Turn up the music. Turn up the music. Turn up the music of your life. Turn up the music. Turn up the music. Turn up the music of your life. Rise to every occasion. Go for the goal. Take a chance, share a dance, be brave and be bold. Turn up the music. Turn up the music. Turn up the music of your life. Turn up the music. Turn up the music. Turn up the music of your life. Turn up the music of your life.
Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? Do y'all find, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but as every birthday passes, I become more and more prone to say, would you please turn that music down just a little bit? Just a little, just turn it down just a little bit. But we have a snow day coming up. I'm declaring it on faith. We have a snow day coming up this week. And I was reminded of the times when I was younger and I would be at home maybe on a snow day, stuck at home for whatever reason, and I would turn the radio up as loud as I could until I could feel the bass beating through my body, right? So if we have a snow day this week, let's all do that. Pinky promise? We're going to turn up the music. We're going to dance around our house, right? Until we feel 18 again. Are you with me? Okay, good. I would like a full report next week. I got a few quick welcome. Welcome to Unity of Music City. We are a place of authentic transformation. It's happening right now. Can you feel it? Yes, it's happening right now. We are so glad you're here. We know you're here by divine appointment. Let me tell you what else we got going on this week. A couple of things. First off, this afternoon from 1:30 to 3:30, Becky Estorita is doing Reiki and restorative yoga for empaths. I know I've talked to several people today already who are going, so be sure and talk to Becky afterwards if you're interested in that. And then this Tuesday is the third or the fourth in a 5-week program. Fourth. It says third here on my page, but I thought it was fourth. Beliefs 101, Tuesday night from 7 o'clock to, it says from 7 p.m. to 7 p.m. Instantaneously, Becky is going to get rid of all of your old beliefs. Boom. Do not be 5 minutes late. It will be over. I believe that's 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. Tuesday night. Beliefs 101. I don't think it's too late to join, but maybe so. If you're interested in it, talk to Becky. If there's not room, hey, she'll roll it around again if there enough people want to have it. I hear it's been an incredibly powerful experience. And then coming up on Friday, February 1st, that's this Friday night and all day Saturday, Advanced Shamanism with Janice Mickle, extraction healing, removing negative and intrusive energies. I have no idea what she's talking about. Negative and intrusive energies. Let me tell you about the pennies. You know, we've been having these little buckets, Prosper the Penny. So this bunny's got some kind of name, I don't remember, but we're going to pull, I'll tell you what, if we reach our goal, Dave is going to pull Prosper out of a hat for you. A hat that you have, no, I'm just kidding. We have $357 that have gone into our little penny bucket so far. $357. I tell you, that's added up quickly. Here's the deal. If every Sunday that we do 100 on that day, we have someone who's going to match that 100. It's only happened once, right? And we also have someone who has agreed to match it when it hits 500. So let me just explain the math to you. At $357, if we got $143 today, somebody would match the 100 and somebody would match the 500. That it means that for $143 today, we would have $1,100. That's the power of compound interest, my friends. So let's get on that. Clean out that change if you can and put those in the bucket if you will. Let's stand up and sing again, shall we? There's something about that song that makes me want to have a pina colada. You know, I just thought I'd share that with you. A few more quick announcements for you today. First off, I want to talk to you a little bit about the Dodson Chapel Food Pantry. It's coming up on February 9th. That's the week, I believe, that we operate it. We go in there and help from 9 a.m. to 11. There's a sign-up sheet on the bulletin board in the foyer if you'd like to be a part of that. February 9th, I believe that's 2 weeks from yesterday. So please sign up for that. Lunch Bunch is going on every Wednesday at 11:30, of course, in the Namaste Cafe, Creating a World That Works for All by Sharif Abdullah. That's at 11:30 on Wednesday. And then Wednesday night, let me just tell you, y'all need to be at this class on Wednesday night. The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer is the book that we're working with, and it has been an incredibly powerful experience. I've been moved. I think most of the people who've been there have been moved. So if you have the opportunity, join us Wednesday night at 7 p.m. I'm going to go ahead and light the flame. We're doing this a little bit differently, but it seems like a good thing to do as we go into the spirits, the sacred part of our service. B?
Good morning. Beneath the illusion of separation, we are one. The remembering and awakening and becoming will lead us from duality to interconnectedness and then to oneness. The affirmation. My personal search for truth is assisting in the expansion of consciousness on the planet. Together. My personal search for truth is assisting in the expansion of consciousness on the planet. By remembering, I am rejoicing in my divine birthright and in your divine birthright. We are each children of God's first light, come together to first remember, to wake each other up, and to become the love and light that we came here to be. I remember by first believing that whatever is happening, no matter how strange or sad or painful, is happening in love's service. I am perfectly and eternally safe. The radiance that tucked itself into my baby body and your baby body is the radiance of love, wisdom, and creation. That radiance is still present within each of us today. That radiance was present before my body was, or your body was, and will be present when our bodies are no more. That radiance is present as who I am, as who you are, and who we evermore shall be. It radiates through us from the one presence and the one power we call God, Buddha, Allah, the great I am, who is in this now moment reflecting life back to itself through me and through you. And so, I affirm again, my personal search for truth is assisting in the expansion of consciousness on this planet.
And so I ask that you just do a reset breath. And if you're not familiar with that, that means you blow out first, giving your physical body and your mind an indication that something different is about to happen. And so as you are beginning to balance your breath within yourself, let's do one more exhale. And affirming that we are searching for the truth within ourselves, searching for the truth in our lives. And sometimes we search outside ourselves. But the only real truth there is inside. So I ask that you take that journey between your head to your heart space and drop there right now. And I ask that you just listen with your eyes closed to the words of this song and then go into the silence. When my mind becomes still, there's a place that I go. When my mind becomes still, there's a place that I go. And there's love, yes, there's love. So much love flows through me when my mind becomes still. I feel thee. When my heart opens up, there's a place that I go. When my heart opens up, there's a place that I go. And there's love, yes, there's love. So much love flows through me when my heart opens up. I feel thee in the silence, in the silence. My personal search for truth happens within me and is assisting in the expansion of consciousness on this planet. Oh, my dear one, beloved of my heart. Oh, my dear one, beloved of my heart. By what name shall I call thee? With what voice shall I beckon thee? Is it Allah or Buddha, Krishna or Jesus, or simply my
beloved of my heart, or simply my dear one, beloved of my heart. By what name shall I call thee? With what voice shall I beckon thee? Is it Allah or Buddha, Krishna or Jesus, or simply my dear one, beloved of my heart, or simply my dear one, beloved of my heart, beloved of my heart.
Please welcome our special music guest, Becky Duffield.
Close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me, that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care if they call me crazy. We can live in a world that we desire. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. For the world we're gonna make. There's a house we can build. Every room inside is filled with things from far away. Special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say we've lost our minds. I don't I don't care if they call me crazy. Run away to a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. However big, however small, let me be part of it all. Share your dreams with me. We may be right, we may be wrong, but I wanna bring you along to the world I see, to the world I close my eyes to see. I close my eyes to see. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. For the world we're gonna make.
Now, if that didn't rock your world, thank you. Because what she was singing about is this right here. And we talk about that kind of frivolously in Unity. We're going to expand consciousness. Ooh. What does that really mean? And I know the first time I ever heard it, I heard it over at the other Unity Church, and I thought, well, that sounds fun. Little did I know that what that really means is as we expand consciousness, we have to change. We do. We have to change the way we're showing up. We have to change the way we interact with people. We have to even change the way we deal with anything. And what that means for me, and I teach my leadership, is that means we can't go in with an agenda, a personal one, anytime. That's hard. And so we're all on this journey together, trying our best to remember who we are. And not just who we are, but who everybody else is. Sometimes I can actually wake up in the morning and get, ooh, I'm a divine child of God. But then when I get out in the world and have an interaction with someone that's less than lovely, the first thing I think about them is not, oh, you're a divine child of God. It's not that. So there's my piece of waking up, because that's the second part. Do you understand that the only way that we can wake up is to get rubs? Couldn't we do it in a nicer way? But that's the only way we're ever going to get this, is to be willing to dive into those rubs wherever they are and in whatever situation they're in. That's why people go, no, I don't want to transform. And I don't want to expand my consciousness, and I'm fine just in this little box right here. I did that for many years. How many of you remember the moment, or you're in that moment now when that little box becomes very uncomfortable? And you go, I can't do this anymore. And at that moment, your world begins to shift. But the piece about it that's uncomfortable is we don't know what that looks like. Most of us have worked with therapists or life coaches where they want us to list a whole bunch of things and say, here's what I want to do, and here's my timeline, and this is what I'm going to do. It doesn't work that way. Not this stuff. Because this stuff works in the way that you just have to keep showing up every day saying yes, even when it scares the hell out of you. Can you hear that? Because as I was talking to someone the other day, every day something opens up for me that I have an opportunity to say yes about. It might just be a thought. Those are the easy days. Even if it's a thought I'm trying to push away. It could be an experience with somebody that I didn't really want to have that day. It could be lots of things. But when I choose to say no, that opportunity never comes back in exactly that same way again. And I missed something. Can you hear that? It's like I missed something. Now, sometimes I say no. And sometimes 10 years later, I realized I missed something. I don't dwell on that, but it wakes me up a little bit more. And then I go, ooh, I need to say yes more. And I know what's going on in some of your minds. You're like, I can't say yes to everything. That's the other piece of all this. You have to know what is yours and what is not yours. There are people all the time coming up to me going, we need to do this. We need to do this. I think that the church ought to do this. And you know what I say to them? Yay, go ahead and do it. But we're really good as human beings as walking up and giving somebody something and saying, this is yours, you need to take care of that. I don't know why we do that. I had somebody last Sunday that said, now we did the real talks and I need to know, have you all done bloody, bloody, bloody yet? I was like, nope, haven't. We hadn't even talked to the leadership yet to figure out how to do bloody, bloody, bloody. But if you would like to come and talk to us about it and help us with it, I would love that. And they went, oh, I don't want to do that. Wow. Now, I know some of you I'm stepping on toes because I'm stepping on my own. I've done that before. I've been doing that before. Done that before. Yeah. Right up here in front of an English professor. I'm just talking like this.
Just spit it out however it works, darling.
We all do it because sometimes we think, oh, because that song she sang is so magnificent. Oh, I have a million dreams. But I want somebody else to do it for me. I want to sit in my rocking chair and drink my mint julep and make the world a better place by going, right? Which is one of the things that affects a lot of us that have gotten older because we thought we were going to retire, whatever that meant. Do you understand that to create a world that we want, it's going to take all of us, all hands on deck, everybody, to do their part, which is the becoming part. I have to go out into the world every day and be the Christ, be the light, be the whatever. What does that look like for you? It probably looks different than it looks for me. Remember in January, we've been talking about consciousness is potentially set in motion by a what kind of process? because it's organic for many reasons. It's organic because Pat's and mine look different. It's also organic because some things I say yes to and some things I say no to, and doors close. And so I have to become very, very aware of where I think I'm going, what I'm being called to do, and when things come across, as I say, my radar screen, I know automatically that it's mine. So I want you to talk to your neighbor for just a moment about how you know automatically that it's yours, that you know exactly in that moment, yep, that opportunity just came and it's mine. Go. And I know some of you are not finished with your conversations. That's the good thing. I will tell you, I was extremely blessed last week because the leaders of youth ministry and some of the students came up and said, we want to do that more often. We want to be in the sanctuary some with our parents and have those conversations. Do you understand how wonderful that is? I didn't have those conversations with my parents. Some of you may have, but I did not have those kind of conversations. That's huge. Because one of the things I can tell you about yourself that you probably already know, if the decision to or not to is going to bring you more love and joy and peace, then join, go quick, say yes, 400 times say yes. Some of you are going, what's that really mean? That means if the experience you are asked to step into is going to ultimately bring you more love and joy and peace in your life, you better say yes, unless you just want to hold on and be a skank. And I've wanted to do that before. I've just said, no, I'm just going to stay here and be pissed off at the world because this is what I know how to do right now. But at some point in time, I go, you know, this is not comfortable. And the minute I ask and seek and knock for something different than whatever that is, Holy Spirit goes, here, try this. Okay. Haven't some of you been in the place where you try anything just to get out of where you are? Yeah. Sometimes it's just boring. Right. Right. So whatever's going to bring you more light, or whatever you call this energy that we are, say yes to that. Many of us say yes too many times to things that are not going to bring us more light. They bring us more pain. And then we say, but I'm supposed to do this because I believe that life is supposed to be hard. You know, I know I have a child in here, so I have to be very careful today. I have seen the bumper sticker, life is a bee, and then you die. Lord mercy. Is that the way I want to live? No. I don't. But I've had a few years like that, where I thought, surely this is not all there is. We're searching for peace. But what do you notice about the people in the picture?
They're all different. Is that not the challenge? Now, the people that you are attempting to build your life with may not look like that, but they may look like that on the inside. I'm going to say that again, and some of you will wrap your mind around it. Because every one of those people have different belief systems and come from different places and different cultures and different ideas about the million dreams that they have. Hence, the issue that we have on our planet today, and especially in the United States. There are some countries, which we're beginning to understand more about in our lunch bunch class, where the majority of the people in that country, small little country, are the same color, go to the same churches, and speak the same language. That's a different ballgame. Totally. Have you noticed the United States lately? That's not the truth at all. And so how do we create this? It's up to us. The real voyage of discovery is not in seeking new places, but in seeing with what? How do you see a situation in new eyes? How do you do that? Because there are many situations that I walk into that I have to reset several times. It's like, whoo. But what I know is I was called in there, and I said yes. And so it is my job to see it with brand new eyes so that I can be the solution, not more of the problem. Does that make sense? Somebody read this, because this is our illustrious founder of unity, and he said it in a little bit different way, but he said it. Somebody read it out loud for everybody else to hear. Or women. You know, I think that some of us have grown up and been told that somebody else was going to do it. I think most of us in this room have gotten to the point that we realize that's not true. Somebody else is not going to do it. We have to be a part of the solution. The issue is I can't tell everybody else how to be a part of the solution. We have to decide that ourselves. So I'm going to tell you a little story this morning for a moment. Some of you like it when I tell Bible stories and metaphysically give a slant to it, so that's what you're getting ready to hear. This story is called the Tower of Babel. Anybody ever hear that? Or you might have heard it babble. So what I can tell you is the way it was taught to me was this, that there were a whole bunch of people and they decided they wanted to build a tower reaching up into the heavens so they could meet God. And so they got all together and they started building this tower, and it got really, really close to God, and God decided, woo. And so God caused all of them to speak different languages so they couldn't understand each other. And they all came down off the tower and went to 400 different places on the earth. So as a child, my thought was, obviously God doesn't want us to see him. And in fact, there are some Old Testament stories where if somebody saw God, they were smitten dead. So I was like, that's really weird. What is all this about? I want to tell you this is our story right now on planet Earth, in Nashville, Tennessee, in the state of Tennessee, in the United States. Many of us have many, many different dreams, and we are attempting to create heaven right here, right now, but we cannot find ways to communicate with each other. Even when we speak the same language. Can you hear that? Some of you are looking at me like I have 4 heads, 3 tails, and are speaking Swahili. Judy and I had that situation just this morning. I was saying something to her. She said something back. I was like, no, that's not what I said. That happens all the time with everybody. And we're not even speaking a different language. We're just trying to communicate. And what happened is those people gave up trying to build a better world and just went off in 400 different directions. Somebody just sucked the air out of the room. Because you know that's what some of us are doing right now in the world. We're like, I can't fix this. Nobody will listen to me, so I'm just going to go do what I'm doing. So I want you to have a conversation with the person you were having a conversation with just a minute ago about whatever came up for you in this now moment. Go. So I don't know if there's anybody out there who's figured all this out. But I will tell you that there are lots of communities, spiritual communities, school communities, that are attempting to create a better world. And that exact thing is happening. That people are coming from different opinions and different beliefs about how it needs to happen. And instead of being able to sit in that, because that's uncomfortable. You ever sat with somebody who didn't agree with you? It can be very uncomfortable. I did that with my mother Thursday night. It was very uncomfortable. For about 2.5 to 3 hours, it was very uncomfortable. I know at one point in time I kept resetting, and my son Logan said, "Are you okay?" "Yeah, fine. How are you?" Because it is uncomfortable to sit in a conversation when someone is saying something that you don't even agree with, much less want to create, right? Irvin Laszlo. Some of you may know him, and some of you may go, "Who in the world is that?" He is a systems philosopher. He is an integral theorist. And he's the one that said that we have to reorient our vision. But he says the evolution of consciousness begins with the need to relieve the chaos and confusion. The minute I am uncomfortable, Spirit is saying, broaden your circle. But that's not always what I do. Sometimes I run off and go, "I don't want to talk to you anymore. Ever. I don't ever want to see you again. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Please disappear from my world." I mean, think about that. How many of you remember doing that as a child? "I am never going to play with you ever again." Never. But the neat thing about children is 35 minutes later, you're like, Mama, can I go back to Susie's house? And my mother would say, I thought you said you were never going to play with her ever again. I know, but oh well. But the older we get, the more that becomes true. I'm never going to play with you ever again. I'm never even going to talk to you ever again. Everybody breathe. It's all okay. It is all okay. So Pam is getting ready to hand out a piece of paper. If you don't have a pen in the back of your seat or somewhere around you, you're going to need an ink pen. You didn't know you came to school this morning, but you did. Thank you, Dan. When everybody gets a piece of paper, I will explain what you're going to do with it after that. Pam, why don't you hand somebody else the pens, and then that can happen quicker. Cool. So has everybody got a piece of paper? The first thing I'm going to say is this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart, and eventually Nashville Chooses Peace, which is its own entity, is going to create a workshop around this, and Ryan, you're going to help me with it. Because what I want you to hear from me right now is there is a difference between diversity and inclusion. I just want you to take that in for a minute, because that's part of what we're doing here today. I've worked for many organizations, Metro Schools as one, Tennessee School for the Blind as another, Chamber of Commerce, banks, and I've occasionally had to turn in a list of the percentage of whites and blacks and greens and yellows and whatever. And if we had the right percentage, we got an award. Woohoo, you're diverse. That doesn't mean doodly. It does not mean doodly. But what I want you to do is take your paper and fold it long ways like this. And on one side, write diversity, and on the other side, write inclusion. And I'm going to give you about a minute, and then I'm going to ask you to share with somebody. I want you to write down what comes up for you around the word diversity. Just write it down on your paper. What does that mean to you? You all are excellent students. Lord mercy. Professor Deb, everybody would like a class like this, wouldn't we? It doesn't happen in other places, I promise you. Especially not in high schools or middle schools or elementary schools. They'd already be standing on their heads in their chairs with their bottoms up in the air, drawing a picture on a piece of paper. Right, Jill? So before you have a conversation with somebody, know that this is just a partial definition of diversity. The differences among people based on race, religion, ethnicity, language, gender, sexual orientation, age, physical or mental ability, socioeconomic status, or other such characteristics. Because anybody that's ever worked for the government or for Metro or the state or anybody, you have to turn in information about how many handicapped people you have, how many white people you have, how many Chinese people you have, how many people you have with mental illnesses, how many people. It's like, I don't even know how you're supposed to decide that. Well, I think that person might be mentally ill, so let me put a 1 down right there. It's like, okay. So, so have a conversation with someone close to you about your definitions of diversity, what that means to you. So I know that this has just opened up the box lid. You have to decide whether you want to open it any, even further. But I want to share something with you when you think about your list later today. Diversity is context-driven. I was looking in the back there, and there's one of our songwriters back there. And I was thinking, you know, diversity can be about the types of music you listen to or that you perform. Diversity can be anything that sets you apart. Because I want you to go back to this definition. Diversity is the what? So do you understand that in our world today, we focus more on differences than anything else? Think about companies that say, we've got to have some black females that we've got to hire from somewhere. Okay. Where do we go get them? And what does that really even mean? What's going to happen when we do that? I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying, are we really thinking about what we're doing? I know the first person that really made me think about this is Enoch Fuzz. Some of you know I just adore him. And one day he said, I need to have a conversation. And he brought 5 ministers together. And all 4 of us, other than him, were white. And he said, why do y'all want us to come to your churches? I was like, I don't know. Somebody sucked the air out of the room. And what he said is, we worship differently than you do. Everybody sucked the air out of the room again. And he said, Denise, I could bring myself and my choir up in your place, is exactly what he said, and make everybody uncomfortable. I was like, yep, you could. And so I say, what does it mean to be diverse? Do we really know what we're asking for? I know I have sweet Jill sitting here. Does Metro Schools really know what they want when they say they want diversity? Are we really servicing those diverse people? Or are we trying to service them the same way we would everybody else? Does that make sense? So, diversity is context-driven. Diversity is a moving target all the time. You understand what I mean by that? Depending on where you are and what's going on, your conversation about diversity can move. It's like, who am I talking about? And it's always at least one step away from inclusion. Because as long as I'm having the diversity conversation, I'm not talking about including, I'm talking about differences. Breathe. It's all okay. Yeah. Right. Yes. Right. Right. Yes. Yes. Right. Right. So I want you to listen to this. Inclusion is giving conscious thought and consideration to creating an atmosphere that embraces everyone, regardless of differences, in a supportive environment. I want you to take that in again, and then I want you to start making a list of places that you have ever been where you felt inclusion was a high priority for them. You may have a short list. Inclusion is giving conscious thought and consideration to creating an atmosphere that embraces everyone, regardless of differences, in a supportive environment. So make a few notes of places that you feel like, Ryan, this is going to be hard for you, that do a semi-good job of being inclusive. I mean, think about even this church. If you can't walk up and down stairs, you can't go to the second level. Now, yes, that takes money and an elevator. That's just one little something to throw out there. So, write for a minute about what's coming up for you. Is just making sure you have a handicap ramp enough for someone who is handicapped in any way? You know, the reason we're talking about this is we as a spiritual community create an event every year called Nashville Chooses Peace. Are we choosing it every day, all day long? Or just on that day? What would that look like? Loud. Wow. Would that not be awesome? What would that look like? We have to quit talking about diversity and begin conversations about inclusion. Those are harder conversations. It's very simple to pass out pieces of paper and let people check the box of what kind of person they are. And then someone like a guidance counselor in a school gathers all that information and puts it on a spreadsheet and turns it in and goes, here we go, we're done. But that has nothing to do with the way we treat people. That's just calling them out on a piece of paper and saying 35% of our students are bloody-bloody. So what would it really take here in this facility to create an inclusive environment, which is part of what we are doing with the World Cafe and the Real Talks? What would it take for us to create an inclusive environment, knowing that at some points in time, all of us are going to be uncomfortable? I know some of you that I just saw suck the air out of the room. Because what we believe, what we have always believed, that creating unity means we're all going to be happy all the time. Nope. If we include everybody and their ideas, sometimes what's going on may be pushing the limit for me. You want to hear the conversations I've had with her about music? At some point in time, we need to have a rap up here on the stage. We need to have hip-hop up here on the stage. I know. We need to have some Mexican music, some Spanish music, some something up here on the stage. And some of you are going, please tell me what Sunday that's going to be, because I'm not going to be there. Because I know exactly what happens in a lot of churches. They say, well, we're going to have an early service, and that's going to be the one I'm going to go to, because they get wild and crazy in that second service, and I can't deal with their music. But then we also say we want the youth. We want to include them, but we want to make sure they do what we like and that they're quiet when they're done. You know what I mean? How good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. What would that really look like? I believe we can do it. I believe that Unity of Music City and Nashville Chooses Peace are the two organizations coming together that can do this. But no, it's going to take all of us coming together, having in-depth conversations. It can't just be about coming on Sunday morning and going, oh, I'm going to turn over a piece of paper to Denise or Pat or Judy or somebody else, and y'all are going to take care of it. It's going to take conversations. It's going to take someone going, you know, I think that if we did this, and we go, yay, do that. I know now none of you are going to ever make a suggestion ever again, right? Because the goal is expansion of consciousness. And so I ask you, how has your consciousness expanded just a tiny tad today? Because it's all about the climb.
can almost see it, that dream I'm dreaming, saying there's a voice inside my head saying you'll never reach it. Every step I'm taking, every move I make feels lost with no direction. My faith is shaking, but I gotta keep trying, gotta keep my head held high. There's always gonna be another mountain, always gonna wanna make it move. There's always gonna be an uphill battle, sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there, ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb. The struggles I'm facing, the chances I'm taking, sometimes might knock me down, but no, I'm not breaking. I may not know it, but these are the moments that I remember most. Yeah, just gotta keep going, and I got to be strong and keep on pushing on. There's always gonna be another mountain, I'm always gonna wanna make it move. There's always gonna be an uphill battle, sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there, ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb. Oh, there's always gonna be another mountain, I'm always gonna wanna make it move. There's always gonna be an uphill battle, sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there, ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb. It's all about the climb. Gotta keep on moving, keep climbing, keep the faith. It's all about the climb. Ooh, yeah. Keep the faith. It's all about the climb.
When I am in the shower, I believe that I sound like that. It's all about the climb, baby. It's all about the climb. That was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. It is time for us to have the wonderful opportunity to give back to our spiritual community through our sacred walk of abundance. You can come forward and take one of these affirmations and then put offering in the crystal bowl. Take your tithes and gifts and offerings in your hand and say the offering affirmation with me, please. I live in the midst of infinite abundance. I give freely and fearlessly to life, and life gives back to me.
one spirit, a new day is dawning. Can you feel it? Different choices we make, different roads we may take. We are many voices, one spirit, singing my song until the whole world hears it. Songs of peace and grace, songs of hope and faith, finding our common ground. We'll let the light shine through. We are many voices, one spirit, singing my song until the whole world hears it. Songs of peace and grace, songs of hope and faith, songs of love for all the human. Many voices, one spirit.
So just take that song, those words to that song into your heart. Living, loving spirit, we are many voices, and we are one spirit. And we are on the road to creating a place of love and joy and peace, and moving towards that event of Nashville Chooses Peace and beyond. And how do I make those decisions every day? We thank you for the tithes and offerings that have been given here this morning, because they bless this ministry and the work of this ministry that is not just about Unity of Music City, but it's about many of the other nonprofit organizations that we serve. And we ask that you bless those offerings and that they multiply into everything that is needed in this moment for us to move forward. And so it is. Amen.
There is nothing that needs to be said after that. Let's say it together. The prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
People all over the world join hands, start a love train, love train. People all over the world join hands, start a love train, love train.
The next stop that we make, oh, it's gonna be England. And tell all the folks in Russia, China, Venezuela too. Get on board this train so we can ride on through. Well,
People all over the world join hands, start a love train, love train. People all over the world join hands, start a love train, love train.
hey, tell all your brothers over in Africa. Hey, tell all the folks in Israel and Egypt too. Well, now please, don't miss the train at the station. 'Cause if you miss it, I'll be sorry for you. Well, yeah.
People all over the world join hands, start a love train, People all over the world